Please state your name, occupation, and the position you are seeking.
Sure, my name is Charlie San Miguel, and I am a general contractor. I'm a licensed home inspector also. I'm also a certified teacher. Right now, what I am working primarily on is construction. That's what we do. I am seeking the office. I want to serve the District of 6 as their city councilman.
Have you received any formal education?
Yes, I have a Bachelor's of Science degree in biology with a minor in chemistry.
How long have you lived in the district?
About 12 years I've lived in the district. I'm a lifelong Laredoan. I love this city. I love the community. I love the people. Obviously, I love the food. But yes, I've been in that district about 12 years.
What do you think is the primary need in your district, and how do you plan to address it?
You know, as I walk the streets, people have felt disconnected from their city council. And what I am proposing and what I will do is I will establish a system or a means or a medium whereby I can conduct, and I will conduct, annual polls of what the people of my district want to have done. This way they want an opportunity to participate in how their tax dollars are being used. And that, for me, will give me objective numbers whereby I can then go to the city manager and tell him, I know that 70% of my constituents want this done in their district. And that for me is very important because my conscience wants to, I want to make sure that I'm serving everybody. I'm not just getting the polls from the people that are around me that I see maybe on a daily basis. There's going to be many people in my district that I'm not going to see on a daily basis. So I need to establish that a lot of the work's going to come in the first year where I'm going to be creating this data bank. That's where all the work's going to go into in big part. Once that's established, then communicating with my constituents will be easier. And if it takes doing face-to-face interviews or so I can get their feedback, I'm going to do it. But there's means through social networking that would facilitate that. And you know, that's what's so good about the single-member districts, where, you know, I'm in charge of a small district of town where the city's divided into 8 districts, and that allows me to better serve the people.
And what would you do? What do you see as the most pressing issue for the city as a whole, and what would you do to address it?
You know, right now the issue with the sports complex and the use of $18 million of your money is planned to be used for this sports complex, and I think that's a mistake. When people voted for this in 2000, sports venue tax, the economy was very different. Life and the economy is dynamic in that it changes. The economy today is not what it was back then. There's a lot of people in need of jobs. I myself have experienced the frustration of the recession, and I know what it's like to have bills to pay and no jobs, children depending on you. I know those. I've gone through the sleepless nights of that frustration. And so if we're going to be putting $18 million into that sports complex, we will not be able to convert the sports venue tax into a 4A or 4B, because legally, in order to convert it to a 4A, 4B, there need not be any debt tied to it. The only debt tied to it right now is going to be the arena. There's about $19 million of debt tied to the sports venue tax. We need to pay that off. We need to exercise some discipline, pay that off, and then at that point we can convert it. There's $500,000 going into that pot every month. So it's going to add up pretty quick. We just be patient. We need to consider the next generation. Oftentimes, elected officials are just thinking about the next election. They want to just get into office and win the next election. But we need to consider the next generation. We need to be patient so we can convert that to a 4A, 4B tax. And 4B, you have the flexibility to now offer incentives that are competitive with other municipalities where we've lost businesses too. We've lost big industry to other municipalities because we do not have the incentives that we could have if we would convert it to a 4B. We could bring them in and bring jobs to the community. And in a 4B at the same time, you can still apply monies to quality of life issues like an arena or a sports complex, if in the future the demand is there. But at least you have the flexibility. Right now we don't have the flexibility to do that. You know, there's been several projects. We had these outlets coming in. We couldn't take the utilities to them, so we lost hundreds of outlets there to San Marcos. We have millions of people coming in from Mexico. millions of people coming in to buy in Laredo, but now they're going to San Marcos when we could have had that. Why? Because all that money's tied into the sports venue tax. If it would have been in a 4A or 4B, we could have provided them the utilities. That's what the whole disagreement was with these investors and the city. Who's going to put up the money, the millions of dollars, to take the utilities out to them? That took too long. We lost their interest, and they moved somewhere else.
What would you do to help control crime, particularly domestic violence, gang violence, and drug trafficking?
You know, as you know, we have fallen behind. The police department right now is just over 100 officers short. So that in itself is going to take quite an undertaking to build that up. We need to at least catch up. Some people have told me, wow, there's not that much crime. Well, you know what? It's all based on our experience. Until we are that victim, until our child is in danger, then we realize, hey, we need to put more resources into public safety, into the police department, into the fire department. But we need to be prudent. We need to exercise that wisdom and that foresight to not fall into that, and to address that problem. And thank God that recently Henry Quad got some more money, some grant money, so we can hire more police officers. So my thanks goes out to Henry. I'm very proud of him. He's one of Laredo's sons and done a lot for the community. So I'm very glad that he's serious about what he's doing. And we also need to be serious about being public servants. Public servants. That's what we're there to do. We're public servants.
Your opponents may try to point out your weaknesses in your campaign over the next few weeks. What do you believe they'll say is your biggest weakness, and how will you respond?
I guess my biggest weakness that my opponents might mention would be the fact that I have experienced the economic crisis. I've gone through the tough times where it was difficult to pay my bills, and I think that's going to be the biggest weakness. I've had to move out of my house. I've had to change homes. I've had to downscale. I'm in a house now half the size, and that's fine. That's okay. But when I was going through it, it was very difficult, and that experience is actually, you know, what they're going to call out to be my weakness, and what I think that they will call out to be my weakness is actually my strength, because it allows me the compassion and the humility to relate to people. That's what it does, because I can relate. In life, our experiences are what dictate our character. And so if I know what it is to suffer, and I know how that feels, no job, then that frustration or that anger is converted then into energy to fight, because I don't want other people to go through that. I don't want them. I will be there for them and to help them any way that I can.
And final question, why should voters choose you over the other candidates?
I think my combined experiences. Everything that I've talked about, my education, my experience in the community through small business, in construction, in home inspection. I've conducted thousands of home inspections in the area. I'm also a licensed home inspector. That combined with my spiritual growth over the last 5 years. Over the last 5 years, I've been directly involved in over 15 spiritual retreats, where at the center, of course, is love and service, and there's that understanding of service and that profound appreciation of the experience that I've had from the joy, peace, and harmony that comes from serving people.